Hello. Is this testing? Testing. 1, 2, 3. It is I, Dark Symphony 77 with part 2 of Whiteout. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll leave a link to it in the description. I'll probably leave a link to this part in that video's description if you want to catch up on everything. So, Whiteout. This is a very unique story, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it because in the comments, the reason why I said in the last video, I said that's not going to get everyone because in the comments there is sort of and you could look for yourself. I'm not going to make this up. I'm not going to do hyperbole. Is a lot of authors besides one. I'm not gonna name drop any people. Me and one other person were only ones who actually gave an honest thought of trying to guess. But the reason I said a lot of people, this will go over a lot of people's head, is a lot of people either didn't even understand the story. It was like really. It was kind of weird. It's people trying to get the meaning of the story, but they're not understanding, or they're going the completely obvious route and just saying it's Princess Molestia. It's like a perverted story. She's raping all these kids. When honestly, it's not the case. I mean what I said back in the first part. You have to read between the lines. You have to read how it's carefully worded, how it's carefully pronounced, how everything is placed. It's really kind of understanding. And I like the fact that when I posted my thoughts, I'm not gonna again. If you want to look at what I wrote in the story, go click on the link. I'll leave a link to the story in this video too. But I like the fact that the author actually kind of said I got part of it right. I didn't get all of it right, but I got part of it. And he actually thanked, or she, I don't know if Dobermans is a boy or girl, that's kind of hard to say. Said that I congratulate for not taking the easy way out and actually thinking. He actually thought. So this video is going to be my second go at trying to figure out this story. The first thing I want to bring up is there is a lot of color textures. There's a lot of colors in the story. First off, we got an idea of certain colors. I mean, we didn't need to know the colors of of certain things. We didn't honestly need to know the color of Ludwig's scarf. Why was it mauve? That's a very specific color. There's blue, there's white, there's I'll skip that part. Another and go right to the main color, and that's an overarching color of the white. There's a lot of stuff that's white. If you notice partway through the story, don't notice that all the stuff that was broken, all the stuff that was messed with, they're all white. They're the teacup, the sugar cup that had the sugar, it was white. The toilet is white. All these newspapers had pictures of Princess Celestia covered in ink. She is white, and of course, as I remember now, I haven't seen all of Ponyville Confidential. I think they take black and white pictures. I don't know. I could be wrong about that part because it's been about 2-3 years since I seen that episode, so I don't know about that part. But there's an overall feeling of the fact that he's trying to get rid of this white. He messed up the sheets, which are white. When they found Featherweight, he was destroying a white Pegasus doll. Another sort of thing is the fact that when I did a lot of research on a lot of stuff, the Princess Celestia is white, but that's obvious. Despite the fact she's actually kind of like very lightest pink, very to the point it's like white. The soldiers, they're white, of course, it's obvious, but their armor in the show, I believe they wear gold armor, which is like, okay, that's obvious, but they were wearing something called Hori armor, and I looked that up, and it's like a very grayish white. So it's like, why the armor change? So that kind of clued me. So that kind of clued me in onto. And here's what I think. The comments and my comments, I said I put this is kind of like sounding a lot like propaganda. Propaganda, kind of brainwashing sort of deal. Because you're thinking, oh, it's not brainwashing. It's propaganda. Propaganda is a type of subtle brainwashing. They use tricking, changing information from people to inform the subjects or masses of specific facts. Of course, the famous phrase, history is written by the winners. I mean, history is skewed towards whoever won this war, whoever won that war, because it's just one big massive propaganda. We're still living in an age today. It's like 2017. We're living in an age where where Donald Trump used the art of saying, I'm not gonna bullshit around. If I want to curse, I want to curse. He is Yeah, but he's accused. He uses propaganda too. I mean, every president in every single race, they use like all these slinging mud uh, commercials that sling mud at their opponents. He slings mud at everyone. He's using the art of propaganda, but he's using it in a way that hasn't really been said before because, most politicians would just be calm and just use these big words that no one else. But no, he's just going to insult them to their face and say, oh, this is what I think of you. And not even try to hide it, which is another form. However, and I'm still going on the propaganda idea. Another thing, another idea of the propaganda is the fact that think about what Celestia was going to replace. She replaced the sugar bowl with something with mother of pearl inlay, which is white. It's really white with kind of goldish trimming. And then at the end, for no reason whatsoever, she told her guards, Head Hut and Right Hoof, when we get back, tell contractors, Dalmatians, stuff like that, remodel the entire inside of the house on the palace. And that's kind of rang alarm bells. It's like, okay, I can understand the sugar bowl, but why would she rebuild the inside of her house? I mean, it does, from the sound of things, it doesn't, it sounds like a typical Ponyville house, so it's like simple stones, stuff like that. It didn't really need to be replaced. So that begs the question: why would it be replaced? And and I was thinking that I've thought back to in the comments. The Doberman posted a kind of a hint from Equestria Daily, saying that this is a tag from Equestria, kind of give you a hint. Education is the state's power, and I thought about that. And I think I was kind of on the right track when I said it in the comments. But now, reading it out loud, rethinking it, I said, what does... And I think this was one of the parts, this is the only part that the author kind of name dropped that I got right. She didn't say I got most of it right. She said I got most of it right, but this is the only one part that he or she specifically kind of name dropped. That just replaced Celestia with the state. And so think about it. What does Celestia have the power to do? And that's change history, change young minds, and if you want to do an sort of a side by side analogy, there is an episode of the show Criminal Minds. I can't remember what the episode's called, but I know what it's about. It's about the crew, the Criminal Minds crew. They find a soldier who murders people. They turned out he was gay, and then they find out it was a camp run by this kind of overly happy camp counselor. I can't remember the name of the episode. If someone can go into the description, leave the episode, or maybe I'll just look it up after this. And they were brainwashing by use of propaganda. They were leaving images of women. Well, it was more straightforward brainwashing, but the fact is they were using propaganda to lure the people in, saying, "Oh, we're gonna help you. We're gonna help you out with this. We're gonna help you with and help you along. They were using the art of propaganda to lure them in. However, the soldier that killed got out and had the flashbacks and broke down, and that's what I'm comparing it to Featherweight. The Featherweight is that soldier. Not he wasn't killed anyone, but their reactions to everything. They broke down. They realized Celestia used the art of propaganda to lure them in. And once they saw what's going on, they managed to escape, and they had some sort of breakdown with the soldier killing gay people and Featherweight destroying all this stuff this way. Hence why Celestia ordered all the replacements. She asked for Mother Pearl implant. It's white. It's Pearl's white, and she asked the inside of the interior of the house to be modeled after the inside of her castle, which is predominantly white. Um, so it gives you a feeling of, even after he comes home, it gives you the feeling of Celestia will keep watching you. She will constantly be watching you. She will always be watching you, no matter what you do. And instilling that constant sort of subconscious mindset into someone. Now, as for why, I mean, it's really kind of weird. I mean, I honestly think I'm still gonna go with the idea that it wasn't so that Celestia was upset that the Featherweight actually got past all her guards and managed to take a picture of her. Remember, she's the goddess. She's the all-knowing. She's also, well, she's not the all-powerful. She got beat up by Queen Chrysalis in, like, I think season 2 or 3. So she's not unbeatable. And I'm thinking, well, if he got past her guards and managed to sneak up on her, then she might go and he might get into that gymnasium and reveal to everyone what's going on in there, the whole propaganda machine, everything going on. And there is more hints to be delivered. It's like, let's say, where is it? Like the story that's another hint, possibly being propaganda, is the story that Celestia gives. We don't know a bunch of Celestia's backstory. We don't. All we know is she's immortal, and she raises the sun. That's it. However, her story kind of seems off. I mean, she always in the show, we always get that kind of feeling that she knows way more than she knows. And I'm thinking, and this could be, I could be getting this part wrong. I think she used Princess Cadence backstory, like something that she happened to her, and switched Cadence with herself to kind of get Featherweight's mom to lower her guards that way and lead her into sense of security. Because the adults, they worship Celestia. Every time she even walks up, they bow. They will say, oh, when she asks them to jump, she'll say, how high? It's that kind of propaganda that she kind of subconsciously brainwashed them. They're not emotionalist, and they're not emotionally bound. They're not like the people in Starlight Glimmer's town, sort of, where they have like barely any emotions and are like, no, these have emotions, but are subconsciously brainwashed to obey Celestia and always worry about her well-being, always put her in the center of their world. And she's using the power that she got from to constantly fuel the machine. Keep putting all this sort of coda and wording into the schools, so that way, okay, so that Celestia is God. Worry about the key marks, everything. It makes sense. In fact, Twilight Sparkle, the only one who is powerful enough to kind of go against her, besides Chrysalis and maybe Luna, is the only one that actually kind of has the guts to stand up to her, despite the fact it's not always. Which kind of leads into the propaganda thing. She saw how powerful Twilight is kind of a threat of letting Twilight possibly figuring out everything and then having her be her special student, not that way. So that way, to get her under wraps. Now, let me see. The fact that he hid under the bed. Let's see. The fact that she picked angel food. Angel food is predominantly white, and the fact it's called angel food. I don't know why it's called angel food. I don't know. I'm not a baker. I'm honestly not. Let's see, where is it? There's also a line that says poor Celestia gets tired sometimes. Sometimes Celestia just needs some sunshine. This is kind of a clue. I'm gonna guess it's kind of a red herring, but at the same time, it's not a red herring. Because yes, Celestia she's always being, and also the kind of the line before how she has to, how it's difficult being how old she is. She always has to understand the courts and the farmers and fighting the merchants and fighting the royals, and she has to keep everything in control. She has to be the picture of perfection, which kind of gives another subtle wave to us. Like, oh, nothing's going of a facade, a complete facade of her having this maintain a near emotionless facade to the royals, to all the people, saying it's kind of a hint. It's kind of another hint that Celestia is kind of blind. At the same time, she's also telling the truth. She's kind of, I guess she is old. I mean, she's at least 1,000 years old. And she has to pay mind to every word, the inflection, the dictation, the diction, the brevity. How she's even tired of raising the son. How she's even tired of her job. But this could be, it could be a red herring of the fact that, just to kind of connect on sort of a lady to lady level with Miss Featherweight's mother. But it could also mean the fact Celestia gets some kind of joy from taking these special students like Featherweight and Twilight Sparkle. And now we get to the scene where Leadweight kind of talks about Featherweight's. He won't eat potatoes, he won't eat parsnips, he won't eat rice. All three of these are white. And he won't use the potty, which is mostly white, unless you're got a special customer. So, I want to go potty, Mr. Trump! No, I want to go potty. I want to prove that I'm superior to everyone. Even on the John! You're fired. Why am I fired? For looking at me funny. And I remember... It was nothing more. Life again. She said life in Canterlot. Celestia says life in Canterlot takes some adjusting for most of my students. That's the word. She picked... Sorry. Excuse me. Another weird thing is Gymnasium for Pegasus. Isn't Canterlot pretty much a predominantly unicorn city? Why would there be a Pegasus school? I mean, I could be wrong on that. There could be a special school up there for Pegasus and Earth ponies, but it's really weird to put a high learning Pegasus school in a city where even in canon the unicorns kind of still look down on the Pegasus and the Earth ponies. So it's why would there be Pegasus why would it be a high learning Pegasus school in Canterlot, a school where they're not really gonna teach you anything, unless you're like a Pegasus or Earth pony. Another clue is that she seems to pause and want to go after Featherweight the moment he says snow time, not going snow time forever and ever, hinting that everything has to be white. I mean, it's not. I guess it's winter, which leaves the question: why is it winter? I'm guessing it is winter time. Um, but still, the timing of him starting to talk, and in and especially Celestia's word, I feel a bit warm for tea all of a sudden. Might we break for a spell and see if we can't find our little genticle? She didn't. She said, I feel a bit warm for tea. She wants to cool down. It could also means that Celestia might put her son over Celestia, and with how he's saying and wants to get him as fast and get out as fast as possible. Um, and then of course there's the hide and seek. Everything covered in ink. Everything covered in all this black ink. The marble is destroyed. The toilet's destroyed. All her pictures of her covered in black ink. Her sheets covered in black ink. Him destroying a unicorn or Pegasus, white Pegasus. It so where was that? What's the next one? There's also a scattered pile of Polaroids, all of them blurry brown and pitch black. This one along with the number ones, which I'll get to in a little while, kind of stumped me because it's like Polaroids. I know Polaroids are pictures, but it's like blurry brown or pitch black. And I'm guessing, and this is just complete guess, that Featherweight is trying to warn her mother because more than likely he's probably accurately guessing. Oh, it's Celestia. They're gonna follow her whether she says so or not because she's Celestia, and therefore they have to immediately watch and follow her and do everything around her. But the coloring is a bit off. Blurry brown and pitch black. It could also interpret that he's actually taking pictures of everything, trying to capture some. I don't 100% know. I'm gonna guess that he's trying to tell his mom something without confronting Celestia, but it's not working because Celestia's there, and all she has to do is everything. So farther in the story, there's the fact that he tends. There's the fact that he kind of went rabid at trying to escape from Celestia. He was crouching down. He was growling. He flew into the corner and banged his head, tears spilled down from his as he began digging at the floor. He wants to get away from Celestia. So Celestia did something to him, or possibly someone from the school is doing something to him, and that leads me to think that possibly the school he's going to is a military school. I mean, with a name like Ten Hut, you kind of there's the off chance that the school might be military, and everything. But that honestly gave me a red herring. But then there's also Celestia's wording as she held him and she says, "The sun's come out. Remember the sun. Are you as happy as I am, sweetie? Listen, we'll take a short ride back to Canada. You can stay with me for a while. If that helps, after that, I'll give you right proof to watch over you wherever you go. I promise, nothing's gonna hurt my little stallion ever. Not one hair on his precious head." That kind of gives me an idea that Celestia's kind of wised up to the fact that Featherweight, the first time, Featherweight might have either broken free of his of the subtle brainwashing, realized what's up, or possibly was lying through the whole thing, and so she's gonna have one of her soldiers, Ten Hut, to watch over him to make sure that nothing to make sure that he's always watched, that constant fear, paranoia, to make sure that everything goes right in Celestia's eyes. And then of course there's all Featherweight's cryptic clues. The first one, he says, they gave me blank pages, wide open, open wide, they tell me. There are no words or pictures. They don't teach me any words. You don't need your camera or your press or your quill, not going. This kind of supports the propaganda, because most people who accuse other companies of propaganda, they will feed them words, they will feed them pictures, saying you write what we tell you to write, not what you want to write, what we tell you to write. And you don't need your camera, you don't need your press, you don't need your quill, because they're doing it they're making you do it for you. They're not wrong choice of words. They're not doing it for you. They're making you write what they want to write, so that way you don't need your camera, because they're giving you pictures along with it. So it was like tabloids in a sense. You don't need your quill, because why would you need a quill when they're telling you what to write? Because when I hear your camera or your press or your quill, I think of the idea of freedom of speech. Like, you're allowed to take pictures of however you want. You're allowed to post whatever you want, and you're allowed to write whatever you want. They gave me blank pages, of course, giving you gives the idea of blank pages, like a blank slate, like an empty mind. Wide open, open wide, they tell me. It could be the teachers or someone, possibly Celestia, telling him and said, "We tell you. Open your eyes. Here's the reality of your situation. There are no words or pictures. They don't teach you any words." This is another substance of the fact they don't teach him anything. They're just making him do whatever they want him to. They're leading him. They're guiding him. They're manipulating him, like Celestia manipulated Twilight Sparkle. I mean, she knew Luna was coming. She knew Twilight was part of the Elements of Harmony. She knew everything. The only problem she didn't know, that she didn't count on, was Discord. I mean, then again, it's Discord. They're not real. I don't think even Celestia's gonna account for whatever Discord's gonna do. It's like and then the next thing he says, every beam of light is a race between waves, each with its own name. When they fly together, they jumble and make white. 7 of them. White is the first and only color. This is where your text begins. Right is the first and only color. Don't want to go, not going. This one, it was kind of harder to decipher. Well, we all know this is, I guess you could kind of reference the fact that it could be like a subtle reference to Pink Floyd, I think, at the end. Yeah, by Pink Floyd. This is kind of, excuse me, because on the cover of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, it has all 7 colors of the rainbow kind of colliding and making, let me see that, Dark Side of the Moon. I think it makes white. Yeah, it makes a solid white line. I was just double checking. And him saying they make white, 7 of them. White is the first and only color. That means I guess you could say, this is where everything begins, with praising Celestia. This is kind of, I guess you could say, the introduction to his indoctrination, where this is where white is where your text begins. White is the first and only color, which means in order for you to progress, you have to worship Celestia. There is nothing to do with like the adults do, like they always bow. They're trying to break him subtly in that way where he still has emotions and thoughts and feelings, but whenever Celestia is brought up, that's all that he'll always praise and not speak ill of her, like a proper goddess. And how they all come, all the colors is kind of referencing the fact, I guess, I don't know why. Oh, the first and only color. Sorry, I'm getting like jumbled in my thoughts. The first and only color, white being the first and only color, is referencing the fact that Celestia is God. I mean, She is the one. She is the first. She is the only one you need to talk good about. It's kind of reinforcing that subtle idea of brainwashing, subconscious brainwashing that propaganda is known for. And of course, you can't. There's Leadweight referencing the fact there's no news in Ponyville, despite the fact this is where the main six, the elements of harmony are. This is where a lot of shit happens, and her saying there's no news in Ponyville is referencing the fact that Leadweight is under Celestia's control. Because why else would she say there ain't no news in Ponyville? Why would she say that when a lot of big stuff happens in Ponyville all the time? That's just referencing the fact that subconsciously she's trying to make Featherweight go with Celestia without her even realizing it. It's that sort of subtle brainwashing where you have to follow what the princess says no matter what, come hell or high water. And then Featherweight will be safe. And then there's also. Then he whispers, she dresses me in gold, washes me in light. There are 7 of them, every color of the rainbow, each special and unique, and each with its own name. This one caught me off guard. Because she dresses me in gold, washes me in light. There are 7 of them. It kind of not only feeds into the propaganda, but also feeds into earlier with one of the her men being named Ten Hut, being that she's breaking him down. She's breaking him down instead of into the propaganda into a soldier, like breaking him down, getting rid of all those ideas of pictures and cameras, but wants him to be a soldier, wants him to be what she wants him to be. That leads back, and it kind of leads back into the propaganda. Idea and say, oh, we don't want you to write. You have to be what we want you to be, what Celestia wants you to be, and you want to be a soldier. Crap. Throat's next hurting me. She dresses me in gold, which is usually the color of her soldiers. Washes me in light. They usually could. I don't know that one. There are 7 of them, every color of the rainbow, each special and unique, each with its own name. It could be referencing the elements of harmony, because each element is kind of a color, and Luna is each representing a color of the rainbow. Violet, pink, Luna being indigo, orange, white, yellow, and no, there's no red. I just realized that there's no red. Okay, there are 7 of them. Washes me in light. It could be washes me in light could be a spell. Forget that last part. Could be a spell that kind of enforces it, like that kind of starts the process. There are 7 of them. Every color of the rainbow, each special and unique, and each with its own name. This part, admittedly, I'm like out of the loop with this one. And then 650, 590, 570, 510. This one at first caught me off a loop, but then I decided to. I'm just gonna look at. I'm just gonna Google it, and it posted the spectrum of light, which is another subtle reference that something is up with Celestia. Skipping, because I looked it up. It's literally most of the spectrum of color. There's also the items in Celestia's purse. Her limp body slid down the pink silken linen to the bottom, past hardened cake crumbs, and dried flowers. It could honestly just be onto a pile of trinkets and jewels stored there and neglected. Why would trinkets and jewels be stored there and neglected for decades or centuries? Why? I mean, it's kind of it's kind of weird. But why would she forget their stuff? It could be because what I'm thinking is that all the trinkets and jewels and stored there for neglect are all the other ponies that she's taken, and they're all the stuff that they belong to them, whether it be cake or flowers or stuff like that, and the camera just adding on to that, saying that she's possibly done this for a long time. And then there's the fact that it's gonna be 10 years. She's gonna be with Celestia for 10 years. I can understand with Twilight because she lived in Canterlot. She was raised there, and so she flat out confirmed in the first episode that she sometimes visit and she left the castle and to visit with her parents, stuff like that. We all know that, but why would it take 10 years? Why would it be 10 years to teach him anything? It wouldn't take 10 years. At most, when you're in college, it would mostly take around what? 2 to 5 years, depending on your degree, or if you want to do more than a higher degree, then it's longer. Why 10 years? I'm guessing it's properly to properly break him down because he's a kid. And it'll take that long to possibly mold him in what Celestia wants him to be, which is possibly a soldier, or and hammer in the home that Celestia is everything. Celestia is everywhere. Celestia is everyone. And kind of a caring theme. And that's... And then there's Celestia's... And then when Ledway says, well, will all of that about blank pages, and what did it say? Text, will that really help him make newspapers? And she said, and she deflected the question. This is an obvious question deflection. Oh, I don't know. I'm sure the faculty know what they're doing. If you can't trust the experts, whom can you trust? This is another reference to the quote, education is the state's power, with the idea of saying if you can't trust the experts, i.e. the people who know what's going on, or who are like willingly brainwashed or know what's going on, the idea of saying, oh, you can't trust the people who know what's going on. Excuse me. And she's referencing the fact that the faculty know what they're doing. You can't trust the experts. They're not. If you can't trust the experts, whom can you trust? Referencing the fact that the experts, that sometimes you have to go with your own gut. She's also Celestia is obviously switching the question and kind of go on a different track, so because the mother might dig into it and she's potentially like blocking that off. And then she says that she decided to randomly waive Featherweight's tuition. The special ones to him are a gift to the kingdom. This is her just getting Ledway to completely forget about the questioning. So it's like, okay, she deflected it, and then she completely successfully blocked it, and then she got her mind off it, so that way she won't think about it anymore. And then, of course, and then have a cake delivered to Mrs. Ledway each year on her son's birthday. Angel food. And I'm kind of... it's like, I don't think there's anything to the angel... I don't think there's anything to the angel cake, but why would she send one to her for each her son's birthday? Because she asked, will I be able to visit him after that? But she left. So it's like she said the angel food and all the building stuff to get her away, so that way she'll forget about... She'll be too distracted to notice that Celestia is leaving. And that's pretty possible. I'm looking up "Mother" by Pink Floyd. I might look at that song. And of course, in the author's notes is influenced subconsciously by the song "Mother" by Pink Floyd, and the local news. So another thing for the news is, when was the story made? This story was made in July of 12th, 2015. This is right around the time. No. 1 second. No child. 1 second. Behind. Alright, 40s. Yeah, the story takes place in 2015. This is right around the time the controversial No Child Left Behind was gotten rid of. So the story could be referencing the fact that Celestia was kind of enacting the No Child Left Behind and trying to force her will and force her ideals on. No, I worded that wrong. And Celestia, I'm guessing it's based off the No Child Left Behind. I'm guessing this act is kind of a central theme throughout the story, and in the fact that the No Child Left Behind was very controversial. There was cuts. There was ideals that schools were like fibbing scores so that way they can get the belt, so that way they can get the funding from and keep the score going. So, and of course, this also again references the fact that the authors again said education is the state's power, referencing the fact that the state took back the power caused by the No Child Left Behind Act, saying that, oh, now you and everything about that. And so giving power back to the government, how the children are raised, how what they're seeing is seen, and what classes and curriculum and what assignments and what's in the history books and all the textbooks and everything. So I honestly think, if everything is said, I think it's a type of I still think it's a type of propaganda, but somewhat, but it's also referencing the No Child Left Behind Act and how much controversy it brought, and how much these special kids they're feeling let's fib the scores and change and getting rid of it. And I think this is as best as I'm going to be able to get it. If I'm wrong, Doberman, please send me a PM on FIM Fiction to let me know if I got it right, or at least I got some of it right. Because I think this is the best I'm going to be able to get. And all of you can go into not only the comments, you can go and click on the link in the story, read the story yourself. It's a good story. And let him know what you think of the story. This is probably as best as I'm going to be able to get it, and this is probably the best guess I'm going to have, because I'm probably going to be listening to Mother after this. And as for all that, Molestia stuff, no, it's an obvious red herring. It's an obvious red herring. Sure, she says a lot of stuff that kind of leads to it, like, oh, I have one-on-one stuff with classes with my students and everything, but it's an obvious red herring because everything because she's giving the idea of a red herring. Celestia's kind of giving a purposely done red herring to fool you into thinking it's something when it's obviously another, because there's two sides to every story. Celestia giving the idea that possibly she's molesting her students, but she's not the person we should be watching. Featherweight and what he did. He's the obvious focus of what's going on between the lines. He's the obvious what's really going on, and that gives that two sides to every story ideal. So Doberman, if you're a boy or girl, Mr. Mrs. I'm just gonna call you Mrs. because I always seem to talk to girls when I'm reading when I talk to the authors. Don't know why. It's just for some reason it always seems to happen. So Mrs. Doberman's, please let me know what you think. Authors, not only authors, but anyone who watches this video, please tell me what you think too, because I would love to hear your takes on what you think the story is. Whether it's you can go the obvious route and go, oh, it's masturbating, it's molestia, stuff like that. But I want to hear you be creative. I want to hear creativity. That's why I like fan fiction. You get that creativeness. You get that thought provoking. Because if you read like news, it's always going to be skewed towards one person or another. If you read a story, it's always going to follow mostly the same tropes, especially like a romance book or stuff like that. I never really, although I like anything that really catches my eyes. I'm a big fan of Nancy Drew personally. Um, and that is it. So that is what I think the meaning of whiteout is. So if you have another thought, please either go to the story, leave your own thoughts, or comment here. And I really think this is the best I'm going to be able to get.